No, go ahead, Fatty.
I just have a question. So he said if a man does 15 to 20 years, he's probably going to turn out gay. G Prince, if you did 15 years, would you turn out gay?
I don't know. I never been in that situation.
Next question.
Okay.
That
You got any
So,
commentary?
Ham,
Cheeky?
Yeah.
so the
We're
men.
gonna
Oh, my bad. He said Cheeky. My bad.
let that go.
You can jump in.
So do I think it's over? I think it's over for maybe a certain generation, and because I feel like it's going things are just changing, right? I think what's going to happen is what I was talking about, like the house husband thing may be extreme for this current generation and before, but the more this continues on in our society, the more women they're going to make adjustments. We're all going to make the adjustments necessary to make sure we get what we want, right? And I think that when it comes down to it, who would be hurt the most right now? It's men. There's no reason to even try to fight that. Right now, it's definitely men. We were report. I know. We know stats about the self deletion. We know stats about the highest reports of loneliness and how it's affecting men's mental health. 30% of men are having sex and it's affecting them. The high rise of incel, like so, it's obvious that men are going through problems, and it's being reported on mass levels finally. But in the later future, I don't think that'll be a problem anymore because women are going to make adjustments. All the women that's talking about they want a 6-figure nigga, all that stuff is going to be over because they'll be making 6 figures and niggas ain't going to do what niggas do.
So, Cheeky, let me tell you why I disagree with you, Cheeky. Because women are prostitutes. And as long as just keep it in the buck. Because women are prostitutes. And as long as prostitutes exist, men will have an out for what it is that they want, which is sex. But what is the woman's out for what she really wants, which is to be provided for?
So I think we simplify what men want a lot of times. I think men want relationships.
They do. I agree.
So whenever we say men want sex, I think that's a byproduct of a relationship because there are men that do want sex, but within the context of somebody that they like / love. Because as much as we would like to act like men don't believe in, all these niggas is hard, they don't got feelings, they don't got emotions, they don't love nobody, and we just fuck women and dish them to the side. Niggas is not moving like that.
No doubt. But Cheeky, let's prove to the world why I always bring your name up when I talk about the smartest people in space. Who's willing to settle more, men or women?
Men.
Absolutely.
Men for sure.
Absolutely. So if they have to settle for sex because they can't get the relationship, you see what I'm saying? So that's going to be an easy settle for men.
Can I compliment that podcast?
It's going to be an easy settle.
So you can go back, Cheeky.
Yeah.
Expectations a lot of times are going to determine who suffers more. Men expectations are low.
Did you say expectations?
Yeah. A man expectation, even when he gets married, is I have to sacrifice a lot to get with this woman, with this relation. Is the mindset. So men expectations are already low. So that's why they settle more and they kind of be content with it. A woman expectation is never to suffer. So when both actually get to the same level, it's natural that a woman will suffer way more because expectations are way higher than the man. So it's just, I think.
Beans. Before I'm trying to make sure I understand Fatty, because I think I was following.
No doubt.
You're saying because men's expectations naturally is just lower, it's easier to exist, right?
Yes, in any part of life, even when you get married. When a man gets married, is like a life of sacrifice starts now. When a woman gets married, oh my God, I'm going to be so happy and I'm going to have kids and all. Like it is literally this, like it's not on the same level. So it's easier for a man to actually fail because he's like, I was already expecting this. It's kind of like the difference between both.
So watch this, Cheeky. The deeper conversation. Remember that, Ali, right? The deeper conversation, right now, what it sounds like is we having a conversation about who's going to suffer more, men or women, as if it's actually based on the gender, but it's not. See, the deeper, more uncomfortable conversation is who's going to suffer more is determined by what part of society is choosing who's going to suffer more. So look at marriage and divorce, right? Who suffers more, men or women?
In marriage, in
Yeah,
divorce,
in marriage and divorce.
men suffer more. Yeah,
Is it because they're men, or is it because of the way that it's set up?
it's because of the way it's set up.
Exactly.
Which is why I was saying I think society will be changing because we're already moving in that direction. So
right. So my point is
hold
this.
on, Beans, question real quick, if you don't mind. Well, we say it's in our nature to want sex, right? And oftentimes men are perceiving suffering as the lack thereof. You know, men talk about sexless marriages and things of that nature. So if that being true, it would be, I think, 50% because they're men. It's not just because of how it's set up, because of the things that we want and need from women.
Well, but hold on, Fatty. Again,
you see what I'm saying, right? Because sex is our nature. So.
Absolutely, but but here's the thing: yes or no, Hamp, are women prostitutes?
That's a great.
So that's my point. As long as that's on the table, right? As long as that's on the table, that's 50% of niggas that get to forego that suffering, right?
He can go get a prostitute,
and they are willing to settle. They are willing to settle for that, right? To a more extreme than what women are willing to settle for. So that's what I'm saying. If you look at this particular,
so that's the out. Okay, I get what you're saying now. Okay, that would be the out. That is the way to cure the suffering, because as long as there is some level of woman that says, "Hey, I'll accept money for sex," and that exchange is there, suffering can be mitigated because of that.
Absolutely. So and now add on really quickly, and now Cheeky, add on this component.
Okay.
The component is what is society saying right now? Let's just say that it becomes an eventuality, men literally versus women. Who you really think gonna win that battle? Let's just be honest, right? So if it literally becomes men versus women, then at some point they're going to have to capitulate to the people who have the monopoly as it pertains to force. So the women will inevitably have to concede to certain things as it pertains to men. Right now, they're arguing, I can provide for myself. I can go get this myself. I can go do this myself. Blah, 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 blah. Well, we either going to see civil war or we're going to see a reconstruction of what's going on right now, because men can literally say, fuck this shit, and it'll change everything.
Ali, can I add to his point? Because I think Cheeky and Aaron pointed that as well too. When all of us do, when men stop caring, it's going to be an extremely dangerous world. And what you're saying, once it becomes man, we don't care no more. They're going to take all of it back. Women going to suffer more.
Who's going to protect them?
That's a phenomenal point you just made.
But who's going to protect them, Fatty? Who's going to protect those very women?
I want to kind of get an opposite point. Fatty, you got a quick point, and then let me get Daryl.
Go
ahead, make a quick point, and then
solidified podcast point. Listen to this real quickly. If a man is miserable on a marriage and a woman is miserable on a marriage, who is likely to last a decade? The man or the woman?
The man.
That shows that the man, even if they are engaged in a relationship, they are willing to stay, even though they have a shitty life. While the woman, as soon as things go left, she doesn't have that resistance and she leaves. If we already do that shit in marriages and in relationships, what do you think we're going to do single?
Okay.
We already there. We already there.
So
I don't want to go yet. I'm gonna let you go in the order, but just remember, Aaron, and I know Aaron had something to say. I'll remember my point though.
You remember it?
Yeah, I'll remember it. Go to you can go to the people.
I'm gonna go to Daryl. We'll jump to Aaron, and you can jump back in.
So just to answer the question at the bottom, who will suffer more? It's definitely gonna be women and children. But to the second point, who is most responsible for the healing? Because I was waiting to see who was gonna really talk about that. Naturally, it seemed like we want to play this whole blame game, but the men are going to be responsible for the healing. So Ali's point, if men stop caring, it's going to be very dangerous for women, right? Because the nature of men is dangerous, right? It's just that simple. He made it. He couldn't be more honest. If there weren't men like myself, like the Sharons, the men who go out every single day and do whatever we can to protect women, these other men would just roll right through and do whatever the fuck they want to.
Yep.
Men are responsible for the healing. Men are responsible for cultivating spaces, like the one that you had, right, where it's inclusive to women, right? Not telling women we don't care about anything you got to say, nothing you bring to the table except your vagina, right? I mean, to me, that's very dangerous propaganda.
Well, even if let's say
Extremely dangerous
Do
propaganda.
you think Daryl? Let me just ask a clarifying question. I know men are violent. Is violent and dangerous? Or is that like semantics? Is it synonymous or like what do you think?
Those matter with the intentions, right? Because you can have somebody, I can go take a pistol and randomly hurt somebody and say, well, yeah, clearly the intention is different from somebody who would say, well, I protected my woman from a burglar. She can protect herself because she's a woman. She has a vagina. So he came in and I put my armor on and I protected her. So in those situations, right, violence would be different. I understand intentions and the reason behind it, right? So to answer your question point, I don't believe in good or evil, whatever. That's all subjective based on the what happened and the intention on why you did what you did.
Okay, and so you're speculating that it's men keeping men at bay at this juncture.
And I was based on what Ali was saying. He was right by saying that if men stop caring, because even
That's what
now
I'm saying. Yeah.
men do care, and it's still dangerous for women, right? There's still 1,000 women missing in Ohio. We're not talking about that. There's still women being raped every single day, right? There's women that's being kidnapped every single day, trafficked every single day. But to his point, if men completely shut down and didn't care, the other men are going to be barbaric. And to his point, the women will need men to protect them from other men who are moving within their true nature, which is dangerous to those women.
Okay.
Aaron? Can I ask him a question? Oh, go Aaron. My bad. My bad.
No, I mean, I agree with him, but
Aaron,
I agree with him, but at the same time,
Aaron,
I was
go ahead,
this earlier, but go ahead. Like y'all got to.
The answer to the question: is it over? Yes, for the nuclear family. If there is not an adjustment on women being open to men being the providers in the home and that level of involvement, the nuclear family will just it's pretty much going to be gone forever, right?
But tell them why, Ao.
I'm not that's not necessarily Ham's question, right? So to the next part of the question, who will suffer more? Without question, it will be women. However, hearing an alternative is like men are going to be so sad and lost without women, but women will be fine without men. It's making the argument that men love women and desire women more than women desire men, right? So that's definitely making that argument. And then who is responsible for the healing if there is to be healing done? Ultimately, the men will have to do more because women are not going to do it.
Ham, with all due respect, it's unfair for Aaron to answer that question that way and not give the context on why.
All right, Aaron, can we have the context?
Voice is too important to the space.
That was not your question, sir.
Well, we asking now.
Yeah, so Aaron, if you don't mind, can you provide me the context?
What's your question?
The context is why? Why are they going to? Why do they need to?
Being slow down a little bit, Playboy.
I'm not scared of you, Ham.
Aaron, you know the context we want.
I'm not sure. I need to make
He's not sure. That's why I'm telling you to let me ask him.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Aaron, seriously, you have to tell them why it is that they have to reevaluate the way that they're evaluating men for relationships, because they don't understand it from a numerical point of view. They just really think, nigga, go get to the bag. So you have to tell them why it is that they have to be able to reevaluate in this, equitable society.
Yeah, it's a combination of the numbers and their own desires, right? They have to reevaluate what's important to them, and that part they're going to suffer with, right? And so the numbers are just clear as day. You can't say you're smarter than men and we're better at making money than men and don't realize the numbers that exist and how the economy runs. Like,
right,
that's just dumb. But their desire still is, no matter how that you fight it, they want to be smarter. They want their men to be smarter than them to some capacity. They just want it. They'll say equal or more, but my opinion, If a woman thinks she's smarter than you, her default is you're dumb.
Yep.
Damn.
That's just what I've noticed.
So
that was necessary. That's good shit, man. That's necessary.
Can I?
Well, Cheeky, real quick, and then you get to go, Colin.
Ali, if it's still pertaining to this, I'd rather Ali go because I'm gonna go backwards. I'm gonna go back a little bit, not nothing crazy, but just a little bit. Go ahead, Ali.
So two fast questions or statements I'll make. Forget the questions. I don't want to waste nobody's time. Who loves the gender the most? Men love women more than women love men. Who comes to the aid faster than the other gender? Men come to the aid faster for women than women come to the aid of men. Mm-hmm. What all the men would do here if we were in chaos and we had men who was out of order, the only way we would get the healing. So if they want to bring in the men would have to heal, and to bring in what Aaron said, it would take men to heal, and what podcast said if it got that bad, it would become dangerous until we made it peace. What men have always done since the beginning of time. Men operate to fear, same way women would operate to fear. The only way women would turn around is fear. Same way the men would turn around, regardless of whether we want to address that or not. The healing factor would be when the consequence is higher than the incentive to care. If we didn't care, we're going to get barbaric until there's peace. And when we make peace, they're going to care because of fear.
So, Ali, you think that, and this is, I'm trying to think of how to say this, right? But we take violence off the table in a lot of situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is,
sorry, Chief, you wanted to, okay, yeah. So, like, for instance, here's what I was saying one day. If there was one day a week where it'd be like The Purge, but not like The Purge movie, but like you can whoop somebody's ass and not get in trouble for it, I would beg to say the closer you get to that date, the more people's conduct would change positively.
Of course. Yeah. So women, if a man disrespects her, she'll call the man to violate him. If children disrespect her, she'll call the man to violate them as well too. The only person that can't be addressed in that manner is the woman today. We can't shame, we can't redirect, we can't implement a punishment, and then the physical part about it is out of it as well too. But we're seeing throughout history, if the men are still being in order, if the men are still caring for the woman, even a man to marry a prostitute, what we seeing right now in our lives, a prostitute, and we ain't talking about just the professional ones. The women offer OnlyFans, strippers, women with baby daddies, women with multiple kids. Men will give grace to all of that. Women are not giving grace to men for standards they're setting higher that we're talking about. They're not at peace because their standards are too high. But if men get to the place where they can't connect to women because the standards are too high, and everybody becomes barbaric, and while war occurs, men will make peace. That's how men will make peace, like they made with men, like they make with their kids, and like they would make with their women. It would be through fear. That's the only way you get to the healing factor when it's chaos, is fear. That's why it's better to be feared than love.
Yeah, I think that's only for weak men, to be honest with you. Only weak men could control a woman. They gotta use fear to control a woman. That just makes no fucking sense to me at all. That you gotta use fear to
wait, no, please.
I don't understand what we're talking about.
No. Now they're back to go. So Ali actually touched on the things that I wanted to go back to. One was, how realistic is it for us to believe that there will be a man revolution that leads to violence within the U.S., right? I understand what you guys are saying. The possibility is there, right?
Absolutely.
But I think it's very slim, right? I think what is more possible and more maybe probable is men adjusting to society, because we all have this agreement on some type of non-verbal or conscious level. We know violence is necessary in today's time, but it is not necessary in the same way that it was years ago. Somehow, some way, we've agreed that we shouldn't be violent towards women or each other.
So wait. So do you believe that that's based on the propensity for you to be prosecuted based on that violence?
Punishment.
Say that again. Ask that question?
Do
again?
you like, what I'm saying is this? There was a time in when white men, I'm gonna give you an example really quickly. Okay. There was a time when white men would attack black people with like no qualms at all.
Right.
But at some point it started being prosecuted for them to do that. So you kind of seen them dial back, right? So are you saying that the reason why men are less likely to go that violent route as it pertains to kind of performing a coup is based on the threat of prosecution.
I think it's that, but I think it's also because we just as a whole, just society as a whole, we're trying to be less violent. We're actively repressing that, right? In the fact,
so you're talking about millennials and Gen Zers.
Yes, like the older guys are more. What I've noticed is the older guys, you guys that's in your 40s, late 30s, 50s, y'all niggas willing to fight and shit. Okay, absolutely. Now the younger generation will shoot some shit.
Right.
But overall in general, most people aren't really that violent, and most people haven't been in fights, and most people just aren't. So what I'm saying is when you guys make the statement, hey, if men decide this shit is over and we decide we're gonna rise up, and I'm sorry, but the more society continues on, the less violence you're gonna see from men and people in general, just because we have this unsaid agreement that humanity is better than that. I can't expect
this ever.
May I say
that? Too many people talk. I'm trying to hear Fatty.
I'm trying to hear. I just said that it's the safest time in history for humanity overall. We are like everybody complaining we are getting softer. We don't go outside. Exactly. Like the most dangerous man is the guy behind the computer. He's not the guy that can punch you in the face. That's
exactly. And so because that is the case, and I think that'll continue to be the case whenever we bring up these primitive behaviors in order to solve the problems of society in the future, I don't think it's going to work, because even if we were to do that, I'm sorry, but there are more men that will want to protect and defend women than they will want to fight against them, and we're going to have a problem when it comes to numbers simply alone. When you're not going to hear no man outside of this space or outside of red pill manosphere or the idea of male centric ideas is going to hear this and go, yeah, we should fucking fight women, because what they're going to do is they're going to be opposed to us if we were to take that approach.
FBI, please.
For example, Patty, that's a good point. The fact that the fucking FBI is trying to investigate inside, we're fucking cooked.
Well, are you running that through the idea of the question?
Go ahead, Jay Prince. Let's see what Jay Prince got to say. Like Cheeky, but on that statement, I would sitting here right now, I would oppose it. Like it's just in my mind too. You know what I'm saying? Just to be honest, like
under the premise of it's over,
you would have to beat me up first to get to 100%.
You see what I'm saying? And because that's the case, right? Which is why I gave the answer that I did. I think that it's over for maybe my generation and back, right? So if you're single and 40, you're cooked. If you're my age, you're probably cooked a little bit, right? But the younger generation, I have some type of hope that the way that society is going, when it's progressivism and women making money and all of that, that somehow, some way, I know it's still low. I know the probability is still low, but I think it's even lower for the fucking we gotta fight women shit. So if for example, mine is right here and yours is right here. They're both low, but mine is a little higher.
He's always
you don't think it's over, right?
Oh man, I know y'all think women's nature is hypergamous and they won't give up on shit, but I'm telling y'all, women like men more than they lead on, and when they get lonely and they got money, they will allow that broke nigga in the house because they lonely. I'm telling you.
Ain't you a millennial?
All right. First off, I want to start off by saying this to clarify, so because I'm not paying
world class. You right up.
Okay, he's fine.
I'm not paying attention to the chat, but if I pull somebody else's move, and that was my intention, was if somebody else could say some egregious stuff and say it was a joke, I should be allowed to. That's I want to throw that out there. But I want to say this to this point. I think that we're not being more specific, because when you say it's over, meaning let's be more specific, between black men and black women, I would think other races of men would choose black women. And when you talk about the violence, it's other men. I think that if other what's actually keeping black women safe from black men it's other men. And black men understand if they violate these women, what these other men going to do to them. So, because the same way how y'all can say that women will be in a purge, whatever, women will be unsafe. Well, I would say, based on what I see now, black men will be unsafe because if you touch them, there's gonna be another man gonna touch you. And majority of these men majority of black men is afraid to step up to some other men outside of black men. So if we're gonna have this conversation, let's be more specific.
Okay, so you saying, JP, our women would have the advantage because other men would come take them and stick up for them?
Yes, like they doing now. They doing it now.
Is it so? You think we would be at a deficit because we pussy, or because other men would stick up for them?
I think black men is. I had to be honest. Black men is pussy. That's one, and black men don't have the power to step up to other men. One, they all. The reason why I think that will make black men weak, they have different type of belief systems. They don't have a unified belief system. Black men is all over the place. Every black man got their own beliefs. They don't have a common ground what will make them unified. So I do believe that if we're going to talk about this conversation, let's be more specific when we say it's over, because we typically be referring to black men versus black women. Only thing that's going to happen, what's happening now, is white men going to take your woman, Asian men going to take your woman, the Mexican men going to take your woman. And if you do get violent with those black women, like what they do now, they're going to call another group of men to come and whoop your ass. And the only reason why black men, they haven't pushed that button yet, because they're afraid. Just like
JP, it was a
just like the women is afraid of black men. Black men is afraid of every other race of man but his own. Let's keep it all the way gangster.
JP, it was a non-racial hypothetical. We all responded to that.
It can't be a hypothetical because the reason why I said this cannot be a non-racial hypothetical, because the only reason why we come up with this solution of it's over, we typically be talking about the dynamics between black women and black men. We ain't talking about, because you got passport bros, you got black women talking about they can get other races of men. So we cannot say that it's a non-racial, because it's very much racial.
When I answered the question, I was the first person to answer the question. I said, I don't think the need of men and women, that combination shit is a waste of time. The foundation of the bond between women is predicated on hating men. That's amongst white chicks. That's among Spanish chicks. That's among black chicks. It would apply across the board, especially in first world.
I agree with what you said. In my mind, when I heard that question, because the only time I heard the question when him say it's over, what came to my mind is the relationship between black men and black women. That's the only thing.
You drawing off your experience. I understand. I get that point.
There's a lot of projection. If that's the case, other men, the way, put like this, you know how we complain about black women, how they be angry and all this other type of stuff, and how other men don't desire them. I think that's bullshit, because I think other races of men can put black women in a space. They can put them in more of a more peaceful space, or woman-like space, to the point where they don't have to be loud and aggressive. They can feel safe. They can feel love. They can feel getting married and all this other type of stuff. I think, unless I had to be honest and humble myself and be honest, the only reason why black women are going through the stuff that they're going through is because they want to be loyal to black men. If black women decide to be outside her race, the only people gonna be losing, we gonna be watching another nigga treating our woman better than we did. We gonna watch our men.
No, you know what? Hold on, Jay Prince. You know what? Bro, you been going for a long ass time. I ain't trying to hear that shit.
Give him 10 seconds.
Get out of here. Y'all long wind. Everybody else long wind this nigga too. Play the airplane for this nigga.
Go ahead. 10 seconds.
We gonna watch another man bring the best out of our woman. We're gonna sit back like, damn, how come we couldn't do that? That's what's gonna end up happening.
But they had access to her for 200 years, and they still have it.
So,
play the fucking airplane for that nigga too.
So I didn't play the airplane for you. I didn't play the airplane for you.
You played it for Fatty. Play it for that nigga too.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Stay your ass in the back, man.
Let me pick it up real quick, right? There's a lot of projection. Like, I don't put my hands on black woman because of the white man. There's a lot of projection going
Hey,
on.
I ain't gonna lie, that shit is very, very corny to me. You heard?
What do you think is corny?
Like playing the airplane or not. Like, I've barely been telling anybody to stop. So let's not do that. I hate like narrative painting. Go ahead, Fatty.